Hi, welcome. In the previous presentation, we looked at trade discounts, and in this, we are going to look at cash discount. So take your book, your pen, calculator, so that we do this together. Now we are going to take the cash discount in two ways. Okay, we will take cash discount for fully paid invoice and for partly paid invoice. So let's take some notes on cash discounts for fully paid invoices. Now we say cash discounts are reductions in the total purchase amount given to buyers to encourage them to pay quickly. Remember, under trade discount, we say we give trade discount to encourage large volume purchase. But for cash discount, we give cash discount to encourage customers to pay quickly. So you should know the difference between trade discount and cash discounts. Okay. Usually, extra interest charges are instituted to discourage late payment. So if you pay late, they can charge you interest on that. Now, some businesses use both cash discounts and interest charges, while others use only cash discounts or interest charges to manage their transactions. Now, whichever will be used, it has to be agreed upon by both the buyer and the seller. Wherever it's agreed or stipulated is referred to as the terms of payment or simply terms. Now the terms describe details of the cash payment or penalty rates and period. Usually in business, after delivering a merchandise, the seller issues or sends a document called an invoice requesting payment. That invoice lists each item, its per unit cost, including packaging and freight, and the total cost. Now the invoice also states the terms of payment. So on the invoice you have the terms of payment. Now the amount the buyer pays is called the remittance. So the amount the buyer pays is called the remittance. And also the list price of the merchandise, including allowance for returns and excluding handling charges and other costs, is the net purchase amount. So let's take the formula. So the formula for the net purchase amount is invoice amount minus merchandise returns minus freight, that's handling and other costs. Okay. The formula for cash discount is discount rate times net purchase amount. So to get cash discount, first you need to find the net purchase amount and then multiply by the discount rate to get the cash discount. Then another formula you need to know is the formula for cost of merchandise, which is equal to net purchase amount minus cash discount. Okay, the net purchase amount minus the cash discount to give you the cost of the merchandise. And then another important formula you need to know is the formula for the remittance. That's what the buyer pays. Okay, so the formula for the remittance is cost of the merchandise plus the freight, if any. The terms of payment are usually expressed in these forms. Okay, and we read this as 210 net 30. Okay, so you read this particular one here as 210 net 30. You read this also as 210 net 30, 210 net 30. So they are usually expressed in any of these forms. Okay, but what matters is that you read them as 210 net 30. Now we say such an expression means that the buyers can receive a cash discount of 2% if he or she is able to pay for the merchandise in full within 10 days of the invoice date. So this 210 here means that if you're able to pay for the merchandise in full within a period of 10 days, then you get 2% cash discount. Okay, so when you have something like this, the first one is a cash discount in percentage. The second one is a maximum allowable time or maximum allowable number of days. So if you're able to pay within a period of 10 days, then you get the 2% cash discount. And then the buyer will pay an interest penalty if payment is not made after 30 days of the invoice date. If you fail to make payment after 30 days, that's the meaning of the net 30 here. Note that after the 10 days, you won't get any cash discount anymore. And then the maximum allowable time for us to get our money is 30 days. If you fail to pay after 30 days of the invoice date, then we can charge you interest penalty. Okay, so let's look at some terms. Okay, the first one is discount date. Now the discount date is the date by which the discount can be received. Let's say today's date is 15th January and that is the invoice date. Given the condition here to 10, these 10 days, when you add it to 15th January, you get 25th January, isn't it? So that 25th January is the discount date we are talking about. Then the second one is discount period. Now the discount period is the period from the invoice date to the discount date. Now under the discount date, I gave you an example and I told you that given that the invoice date is 15th January, using this to 10 here, the discount date will be 25th January, isn't it? So if you want to know the discount period, you will say that the discount period is 15th January to 25th January. That's how you state the period. And then you have the due date. The due date is the date after which penalty is charged. You see the net 30 here. After 30 days, that date is the due date. And then you have the payment period. The payment period is the period from the invoice date to the due date. Here, the discount period is from the invoice date to the discount date. But the payment period is from the invoice date to the due date. So take note of that. So let's take an example so that you can understand this better. A buyer and a seller entered into the terms. So this is the term. If the invoice date is 28th October, determine Roman number 1, the first, second, and third discount dates. Roman number 2, the discount period. Roman number 3, the due date. Roman number 4, the payment period. So to solve this, Roman number 1 says we should find the first, second, and third discount dates. It is important to know the number of days in each month, okay? So you can recite your 30 days of September, April, June, and November. However you recite it, so remember the number of days in each month, okay? But you should know that April, June, September, and November are 30 days, okay? And February is 28. When it is a leap year, it is 29. And then the others are 31. To find the first discount date, you can take the invoice date, which is 28th October. This is what you use for the first discount date. You use this for the second discount date. And then you use this for the third discount date. To get the first discount date, the invoice date is 28th October, isn't it? Plus the number of days in the first one, which is 8. So 28 plus 8 will give you 36. We know that October is 31 days, isn't it? So take out the 31 days of October out of the 36. You'll be left with 5. So which month follows October? Is it not November? So that means 5th November. So the first discount date is 28th October plus 8 days, and that will give you the 5th November. You can also do that just as you did in nursery school. Use your pen to draw like maybe 8 sticks down. Let me say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. From 28th October, okay, then you count from here 29th October, 30th October, 31st October. We know October is 31 days. So when October ends, then you start your counting again. 1st November, 2nd November, 3rd November, 4th November, and 5th November. You see that you get the answer. So you can, it doesn't matter, you can adopt your primary school system to do that, okay. So the first discount date is 5th November, okay. And then to get a second discount date, we take 28 plus 12 days here, okay. 28 plus 12 will give you what? 40. So let's take out the 31 days of October out of 40. You'll be left with 9. So the following month, which is 9th November. So the second discount date is 9th November. You can also draw down 9 sticks. After drawing the 9 sticks, then you start your counting from the next day. So 29th will be the first. You cross it, 30th, 31st, then you start 1st November, 2nd going. So what you get for the last one is the date. Just as what I did in the first one, okay. Then to get a third discount date, we take 28 plus 15. So 28 plus 15 will give you 43, isn't it? So let's take out the 31 days of October from 43. You'll be left with 12. And the following month after October is November. So that will be 12 November. 28 October plus 15 days should give you 12 November. You can use this method here to also do that. Then let's go to Roman number 2. Roman number 2 says we should find the discount period. To get a discount period, remember we said the discount period is from the invoice date to the last discount date. Okay. Now, from this particular question, our last discount date is 12 November. So the discount period is from the invoice date to the third discount date. Okay. So what is the invoice date? 28th October, isn't it? And what is the last discount date? The last discount date is 12 November. So we say it is 28th October to, this sign is 2. Okay, you can write it in words, TO. 28th October to 12 November. So that's the discount period. And then Roman number 3 says we should find a due date. Now, to get a due date, the method we use in solving the discount date, we are going to use that same method. But in this case, we will consider the net 25. So this 25. Okay. So 28 plus 25, that will give you 53, isn't it? Now, let's take out the 31 days in October out of the 53. So 53 minus 31, that will give you what? 22. The month after October is November. So that means 22nd November. Okay. So the due date is 28th October plus 25 days. And that will give you 22nd November. So the due date is 22nd November. You can do that by using your pencil to draw down 25 sticks, like what I did here. Then you start counting from the next day. So after 28th, then you start from 29th, 30th, going. Okay. And then to get a payment period, remember we say the discount period is from the invoice date to the third discount date. But for the payment period is from the invoice date to the due date. Okay. So since we know the invoice date to be 28th October, then that will be 28th October to 22nd November. That's the payment. So this is the answer to this question. Sulu Enterprise sold liquid soap to BKT Motors. The invoice amount is 710 cedis, which includes 30 cedis in freight charges. The invoice date is July 13th and the terms are to return net 30. BKT Motors return 250 cedis worth of merchandise and pays the rest of the invoice before the discount date. Compute the cash discount and the remittance. Determine also the discount date and the due date. To solve this, the question says we should find the cash discount first. And remember, before you can find cash discount, you need to know the net purchase amount first. Okay. And what is the formula for net purchase amount? The formula for the net purchase amount is the invoice amount minus merchandise returns, if there is any. Okay. Then minus freight charges, if there is any also. Now, when you look at the question again, the question says the invoice amount is 710 cedis, which include the freight is 30 cedis. And then let's see, it said BKT Motors returns 250 worth of merchandise. So this is the merchandise return, 250. So we substitute 710 in place of the invoice amount. Then return, which is 250, we substitute it here. And then the 30, which is the freight, we substitute it here also. So when we do the substitution, 710 minus 250 minus 30 should give you 430 cedis. So this is the net purchase amount. Okay. So after getting the net purchase amount, we can now find the cash discount. So cash discount is equal to cash discount rate times the net purchase amount. Okay. Now what is the cash discount rate according to the question? The question says to 10, meaning 2% in 10 days. Now, when you look at the question carefully, they said he pays the rest of the invoice before the discount date, meaning he qualifies for the discount because he pays before the discount date. Okay, so he qualifies for the discount. Okay, you need to check whether he qualifies or not. If you fail to check whether he qualifies or not, and you solve and get an answer, you might be wrong. Do you get it? So you need to check whether he really qualifies for the discount or not. So since the question says he pays the rest of the invoice before the discount date, it means that he qualifies for this 2% discount. So to find the cash discount, we say the cash discount rate, which is 2%, in decimals are 0.02, times the net purchase amount of 430. So 0.02 times 430, and that will give you 8.6 cedis. That's 8 cedis, 60 pesos. So the cash discount is 8 cedis, 60 pesos. The next question says we should find the remittance. Now, to get the remittance, you need to know the cost of the merchandise first, okay, before you can easily find the remittance. So the formula for the cost of the merchandise is net purchase amount minus the cash discount. We are going to subtract the cash discount from the net purchase amount. Okay, so let's do the subtraction. So 430 cedis minus 8.6 cedis, that will give you 421 cedis. Okay, this is just like using the discount method under trade discount, where we know the list price. Let's say this is the list price, then we find the discount amount, then we subtract the discount amount from the list price to get the net price. So the cost of the merchandise is just like the net price under trade discount. Okay, so that will be 421.4 cedis. So after getting the cost of merchandise, then we can now call the formula for the remittance, which is cost of merchandise plus the freight charges. Okay, you only add the freight charges to the cost of merchandise to get the remittance. That is if there is any freight charges. Okay, but if there is no, then the remittance is equal to the cost of the merchandise. So the cost of the merchandise, that's what you are paying for that merchandise after discount, plus the freight charges. Freight charges is just like delivery. That will give you 451.4 cedis. So the remittance is 451.4 cedis. Okay. Then the question also says determine also the discount date and the due date. So to determine the discount date, let's check the invoice date. The invoice date is 13th July. To get the discount date, we take the 10 from the 210. Okay, this 10 here means 10 days. And then we add it to 13, and that will give us 23. It's still within that the same July. Okay, you can draw down 10 sticks just as I show you in the previous one, and then use it to do that. So that will be 23. So it means that the discount date is 23rd July. So discount date is equal to July 13 plus 10 days, and that will give you July 23. And then the next question says we should find a due date. So to get a due date, you add this 30 to 13. So 30 plus 13 will give you 43. Now July has how many days? 31 days, isn't it? So let's take out that 31 from 43. We'll be left with 12, isn't it? And which month follows July? The month that follows July is August. So that means 12 August. Okay, so due date is July 13 plus 30 days, and that will give us August 12. You can also do that by writing down 30 sticks. Okay, then you start your counting from there. So after July 13, the first one, you count the first one as July 14, 15, 16, 17 going. Okay, so be very careful. Remember, July is 31 days. So these are the answers to the following questions. So let's take another question on this. Now the question says use the following information to calculate the discount date, due date, payment period, cash discount, and remittance. So this is the term 110 net 60. Then the invoice date is August 21, and then the invoice amount is 852 cedis 43 pesos, and then the returned goods is 187 cedis 23 pesos, and then the freight charge is 47 cedis 20 pesos. So calculate the remittance for the problem in part A using the discount and complement method. Now to find the discount date, okay, since the invoice date is August 21, then we add the 10 here to 21, and that will give us 31. Now, how many days are in August? We have 31 days in August. The 31 is no more than the number of days in August. So that means that the discount date is 31st August. Okay, when you add 10 to 21, you get 31. So that's 31st August. To get a due date, we add 60 to 21. So 60 plus 21 is what? 81. Now, let's deduct the entire month of August from that 81. August has 31 days. So let's deduct it from the 81. We'll be left with 50. And we see that 52 is more than the following month. The following month after August is September. And that 52 is more than that month. So, and we know September has 30 days. So let's deduct that 30 from 50. And that will give us 20. So our final answer is 20. Now, which month follows September also? That is October, isn't it? So that means 20th October. So the due date is 20th October or October 20. But the question wants us to find the cash discount using the discount method and the complement method. So let's take the discount method first. Using the discount method, if you want to find the cash discount, first you need to find the net purchase amount. And the formula for net purchase amount is invoice amount minus merchandise returns minus freight charges. Okay. Now, we have the invoice amount as this, and the return goods is the same as the merchandise returns, okay, which is this. And then we have the freight charges as this. So let's substitute them here. When we substitute, we get 618 cedis. So the net purchase amount is the 618 cedis, which is like the list price. Then we can now find the cash discount. So cash discount is equal to discount rate, that's the cash discount rate, times the net purchase amount. So according to the question, the discount rate is 1%, this. So 1% in decimal is 0.01, isn't it? So we substitute that here, then we multiply by the net purchase amount. So when we do that, we get 6 cedis 18 pesos. That's 6.18. Okay. So the cash discount is what? 6.18. After getting a cash discount, because the question says we should also find the remittance, so we continue. Okay. Now, before you can get the remittance also, you need to know the cost of the merchandise. Okay. The cost of the merchandise is like net price under the trade discount. So the cost of the merchandise is equal to the net purchase amount minus the cash discount. So let's substitute them into the formula. So we have 618 minus 6.18. So when you subtract, you get 611 cedis 82 pesos. So this is the cost of the merchandise. Okay. So after getting the cost of the merchandise, that is something like the net price. The remittance should be the cost of the merchandise plus the freight, if there is any, something like delivery fee. When you purchase an item, after discount, they add delivery, isn't it? So remittance is equal to the cost of the merchandise plus the freight charges. So that will be 611.82 plus 47.20. So when we add them together, we get 659.02 cedis. So this is the remittance. So we use the discount method to do this. We can also use the complement method. To use the complement method, first we need the net purchase amount also. So the net purchase amount is invoice minus merchandise return minus freight return. So when we substitute, we get 618 cedis, isn't it? After getting that, then we try to know the complement rate. Okay. To get a complement rate, the complement rate is equal to 100% minus the discount rate. Okay. Now what's the discount rate according to the question? It's 1%, isn't it? So we say 100% minus 1%, and that will be 99%, which is 0.99. So this is the complement rate. So after knowing the complement rate, then you can find the cost of the merchandise straightforward, which is like the net price. Okay. So to get the cost of the merchandise straight, that will be the complement rate times the net purchase amount. So if you are using the complement method, you don't necessarily have to find the cash discount itself again. The complement method will only make you get the cost of the merchandise straight. So 0.99 times 618, that will give you 611.82. So we see that we get a cost of the merchandise straight using the complement method. So from here we can find the remittance to be the cost of the merchandise plus the freight charges. So when we add the cost of the merchandise, which is 611.82, to the freight, which is 47.2, we'll get 659.02, which is the same as using the discount method. So let's look at cash discount for partially paid invoices, and let's take this note on it. Now, for partially paid invoices, oftentimes buyers want to take advantage of a cash discount, but they can only afford to pay part of the invoice amount within the discount period. So in such instances, the invoice is reduced by the amount paid, that's the remittance, plus the amount of the discount. So the total amount paid plus the amount of cash discount is called the amount credited. The amount credited is best computed using the complement method, and then the amount that remains after the part payment is called the unpaid balance. To compute the unpaid balance, 1. Compute the complement of the discount rate. Okay, so that's 100% minus the discount rate. After that, then you compute the amount credited by dividing the amount paid, that's the remittance, by the complement rate. So the amount paid, which is the remittance, divided by the complement rate will give you the what? Amount credited. You can also compute the unpaid balance by subtracting the amount credited from the invoice amount. So let's take an example on this so that you understand it better. MMM buys building materials from Kwesi with an invoice price of 484 cedis in terms of for 10 net 40. Within the 10-day discount period, the company sends in a check of 300 cedis. So you see that they've made part payment of the 484. So when you see question like this, be very careful. You should know it's for partly paid invoice. Okay. So Roman number 1 says, how much credit should MMM receive and what is their unpaid balance? Then Roman number 2 says, what amount should MMM remit if they wanted to reduce their unpaid balance by exactly 400 cedis? So to solve the Roman number 1, first we find the complement rate. And the complement rate is 100% minus the discount rate. So the discount rate is the 4% here. So 100% minus 4% will give you 96%, which is 0.96. Okay. After getting a complement rate, then we can find, the question says, how much credit should, so we want to find the amount credited. Okay. So to get the amount credited, that should be the amount paid, okay, the amount the company sent in, which is the 300 cedis, divided by the complement rate. The part payments that you made divided by the complement rate will give you the amount credited, which is 312 cedis 50 pesos. So after getting the amount credited, we can now find the unpaid balance. So to get the unpaid balance is equal to the invoice amount, which is the 484 minus the amount credited. So when we take 484 minus 312.5, we will get 171.50. That's 171 cedis 50 pesos. So this is the unpaid balance. So this how to solve Roman number 1. Okay. Now Roman number 2 says, what amount should MMM remit if they wanted to reduce their unpaid balance by exactly 400 cedis? So to solve this, first we find a cash discount by taking the discount rate times the 400 cedis that was paid. Okay, and that will give you 16 cedis. So after getting the 16 cedis, then you can now get the remittance, because we want to find the remit. So you can now find the remittance for that 400. Okay, so the remittance should be the 400 cedis minus the cash discount on the 400 cedis. Okay, so that will give us 384 cedis. So that is the amount MMM should remit if they wanted to reduce their unpaid balance by exactly 400 cedis. So you can conclude that MMM has to remit 384 cedis to be able to reduce their unpaid balance by exactly 400 cedis. So try this question yourself. I'll drop the answer to the question in the comment section. After solving it yourself, come and compare your answer to the one in the comment section. Okay, so let's look at how to deal with sales and purchases for principals. Sometimes in business, producers send goods to agents for sale in different markets or at a different location for sale at the best possible price. Such a shipment is called a consignment. And the party who sends the shipment is called the consignor. And the party to whom the shipment is sent, that is the agent, okay, is called a consignee. Now, whatever amount the commission merchant gets from the consignment is the gross proceeds. So the commission is generally a certain percent of the gross proceeds. Okay. All charges, transport, advertising, storage, insurance, etc., are deducted from the gross proceeds. So the resulting amount which is sent to the consignor, that's the owner, the producer, is the net proceeds. So let's take an example on this so that you understand it better. Alhaji Musa, owner of AKD Farms, has been trying to sell a used livestock truck and a used tractor. Unsuccessful after 3 months, Alhaji consigns the items to Alex & Co. equipment brokers at a commission rate of 6% on the gross proceeds from the truck and 9% on the gross proceeds from the tractor. Alex & Co. sold the truck for 42,500 cedis and the tractor for 78,600 cedis. Alex & Co. paid 610 cedis to deliver the truck and 835 cedis to deliver the tractor. What are the net proceeds due to Alhaji Musa from the sale of the equipment? To solve this, first, let's recall the formula for net proceeds. The formula for net proceeds is gross proceeds minus the total charges. But the formula for total charges also is the commission plus the freight or handling charges. So to solve this properly, since we have two things, a truck and a tractor, let's solve them one by one. So let's take the truck first. So for the truck, the commission should be the rate of commission, which is the 6% here, which is 0.06, times the amount they sold the truck, which is 42,500. Okay, so that will give you 2,550. Then after that, we recall the freight charges on the truck, which is 610. This is it, 610 to deliver the truck. So after getting that, then we can find the total charges by taking the commission, which is 2,550 plus the freight charges. So that will give us 3,160. So that's the total charges. So after getting the total charges, then we can now find the net proceeds of the truck. So the net proceeds of the truck should be the amount you sold the truck, which is the 42,500, minus the total charges, which is 3,160. And that will give you 39,340 cedis. Okay, so this is the net proceeds from the truck. So after that, then we take the tractor also. So when we take the tractor, we find the commission for the tractor. The commission for the tractor should be the commission rate for the tractor, which is 9%, that's 0.09, times the amount you sold the tractor, which is 78,600. So when we multiply that, we get 7,074 cedis. So we know the commission now. Now recall the freight charges for the tractor, that is 835. So let's recall that. So 835. So from here we can now find the total charges for the tractor also. So the total charges for the tractor should be the commission plus the freight charges. So when we add that together, we get 7,909 cedis. So from there we can now get the net proceeds for the tractor. So the net proceeds for the tractor will be the amount you sold the tractor, which is 78,600, minus the total charges for the tractor, which is 7,909. So when you subtract, you get 70,691 cedis. Okay, so this is a net proceeds for the tractor also. So we know the net proceeds due to Alhaji Musa from the sale of truck to be this, and we also know the net proceeds due to him from the sale of tractor to be this also. So we can even find his total net proceeds. So his total net proceeds is the one from truck, which is 39,340, plus the one from tractor, which is 70,691. So he will get 110,031 cedis. Now note that along with the net proceeds, the commission merchant sends the consignor a form known as an account sales. So the account sales is a detailed statement of the amount of sales and the various deductions. And this is how it looks like. So this is the amount they sold the truck, 42,500. This is the amount they sold the tractor also. So when you add the two, you get 121,100. But from this 121,100, there is freight charges of 610. There is a commission on truck 2,550, and the net proceeds is 39,340. It means that when you subtract this and this from this 42,500, that's when you get a 39,340. And when you add these three together, the three of them here together, you get this 42,500 back. When you come to the tractor also, this is the freight charges for the tractor. This is the commission for the tractor. The freight plus the commission will give you the charges. When you subtract the charges from the price of the tractor, which is 78,600, you get this 70,691. Okay, that's the net proceeds from tractor only. But in case you add the three of them together, you should get the price of the tractor back. And the two sides must balance. When you add all these, you get 121,100. When you add this also, you get 121,100. Okay, see this. And please, when you are solving in exam, always check the units of the currency. If the question is in dollars, always use dollars in your solution. If the question is in Ghana cedis, always use Ghana cedis in your solution. So in the next video, I'll give you examination questions on this topic and also show you how to solve them. So it is important to subscribe to the channel so that whenever we post important videos like this, you can always see them easily. Thank you.